So, this leads us into Cryptic Corner. So, Cryptic Corner today, we are actually going to be visiting the Red Planet. And before we visit the Red Planet, I do want to just take a moment to allow Cosmic Kyle to explain a little bit to us about the Red Planet. So, let me get this pulled up here. And we will get to enjoy that. So I'm going to take a quick drink of my coffee before we get started on that. There we are. All right, here we go. We are going to be exploring the planet Mars as part of Cryptic Corner because few other places are considered the origin of extraterrestrial life. Few places as much as Mars. And that's because Mars is a body that is very much like Earth, which supports life. It is within what we call the habitable zone, so it's a planet within a region that can support life. But before I give too many facts, I don't want to repeat anything Kyle says. So let's let Kyle tell us about Mars.
Today on Science Shorts, our journey through the planets leads us to the fourth from the Sun, a favorite in science fiction and fact. Mars. Mars is named for the Roman god of war and is often referred to as the Red Planet due to its covering of iron oxide. It orbits the Sun at a distance of around 141.6 million miles and 154 million miles at its greatest distance. Deep in the past, Mars had liquid water oceans and a thicker atmosphere, which may have been conducive to life. Several missions have been undertaken to answer that question. Mars also holds the record for highest peak in the solar system. The mountain, a shield volcano named Olympus Mons, towers above the Martian plains at more than 21 kilometers high, 2.5 times Mount Everest's height above sea level. Science fiction and the Red Planet have a deep history, from stories of alien life to human civilization settling in. And in recent years, talks of colonizing Mars have taken place, and may end up being our second home, one day. Until next time.
Saying that was Cosmic Kyle doing a little piece on Mars and giving us some basic facts on it. So we will now be looking at the claims about the little doorway on Mars that people have made, because that was a novel discovery, and now the woo community has attached themselves to it and made some claims. So this is Unexplained Mysteries, and it's a channel that we have visited before. They do just like exposés on different alleged supernatural and unnatural discoveries. So let's move on. Unexplained Mysteries.
As of right now, humans have never explored
The
another
videos
planet
should be
within our
making
solar
sound now.
system. but for years now some of our best minds have said that Mars would be a good start. Ever since we sent probes and rovers to investigate the planet though, many people have said that they've noticed some strange things happening on the surface. This has led NASA to come forward and deny any of these claims, noting that Mars's atmosphere couldn't sustain life. But as the years have gone on, researchers have made some interesting discoveries, some of which may point to life existing, or once existing on the red planet.
So once upon a time, Mars had an atmosphere, based on our current understanding, and the atmosphere allowed it to have liquid water on the surface. Now, currently, Mars has such a thin atmosphere that water cannot be retained on the surface due to no atmosphere to contain it from evaporating into the recesses of space.
One of the most recent discoveries to be shared around social media was this one, showing what appears to be a large opening in one of the cliffs of Mars.
Note that he said it's a large opening. We're going to have to circle back to that in a little bit.
This sparked a debate online, with some users saying that this formation doesn't look natural, while others questioned whether nature could form this. One user said that it resembles a doorway, and questioned whether NASA could send one of the rovers inside to investigate, further saying that the images were sent to us by one of the rovers, so it's very near. Others carried on from this and said if you were NASA, why wouldn't you direct the rover to go inside, saying that surely most people would be interested to see what's inside. This isn't the first time that photographs like this have been taken.
Okay, so I want to take note that they're talking about inside. Just in this, the lighting's better at this angle. There's no inside here. This is just a shadowy area. This is the back. There's no, this isn't an entryway or anything. Well, we'll come back to that.
And it's led many to spend hours looking through photographs of Mars in the hopes of finding something strange. Other objects that have been found here include animals like birds, crabs, rats and snakes, and also large pyramid-like structures. As mentioned earlier though, it's important
Touché, Mark Caesar. Nobody heard me.
to note that NASA doesn't buy into these claims, and have said that what people are seeing is just pareidolia. But it hasn't stopped amateur researchers from looking through these images in the hopes of finding something strange. Another user said the following about this photograph. I'm not saying it's something mysterious.
So, this one, look, you can see the back of this. It's just a fissure. Is what I mean. Yeah. Well, hold on. So we got other things to look at.
But it does stand out as looking strange. This photograph is sole image 3466, and 3 of them were taken by the Mars rover, and as of right now they're on NASA's official website. As most have said, I think the space agency should instruct the rover to go over and take a look. Why wouldn't you? It's one of the most interesting things we found recently. I think it's worth a look inside. Another interesting photograph that often does the rounds on social media is this one.
Alright.
That allegedly shows 3 giant
we will circle back. We will circle back to these sightings, which is a little something different too. It doesn't look natural. You don't think so, Native Atheist? Well, we're gonna dive into it. Don't worry, we will get there. So let's go into this. There we go. Okay, so this is on NASA's website. And this is the composite of this area. Okay, so we can zoom in. And this is zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, okay, this is as much as we can zoom in. But here's the landscape. Vertical face to get there. Alright, so as you can see, we're looking at a bit of a broken landscape here. Now I'm like hyper observant of my side chat, making sure that everybody can still hear everything. And as you can see, there's these little broken sections of the rock face here. Just broken, cracked sections. There's a very rugged terrain, lots of cracks, fissures, and the lighting makes the cracks and fissures look especially dark. There's a lot of contrast between the shadows and the lit area here. Imagine that the mention that I made earlier of there being no atmosphere feeds into that weird lighting effect. But I digress. Here is our alleged doorway. This little chunk right here, at just the right angle. I do not see it necessarily being anything different than what we see, with this one right here. Just another little break in the rock face. And the way that the shadows are cast because of the lighting here. But as we saw, even in the images of the proponents of this theory, that there is no depth into here when you look at it with a different lighting spectrum. And we will go into that in a little more detail here. So this is from Universe Today. Go. Let me pull this up a little bit bigger for us here. A little bit bigger, just a moment. There we go. Okay, so this is from Universe Today. No, this isn't a doorway on Mars. A Mastcam image from the Mars Curiosity rover captured what looks like a doorway into a rock ledge. It was formed where layered rock cracked and eroded away, courtesy NASA Mars Curiosity rover team. The planet Mars has a lot of intriguing geological features, but a doorway in the side of some sedimentary rock on the flank of Mount Sharp, how do you say that, Aeolus Mons, isn't one of them. In fact, no such doorway on Mars, supposedly created by aliens, exists. But there is a break in the rock that really, really does look like one. The fact that it isn't a real doorway hasn't stopped a lot of speculation over its appearance in an image snapped by the Mastcam of the Curiosity rover on Sol 3466, May 7th, 2022. The plain truth is that the odd-looking feature is really a fracture in ancient layered sand sands that, I guess it says sand, but I think it's sands might be a proper way to put that has layered into rock over millions of years. A combination of light, shadow, and viewing angle make it look like a door, but it's not. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. You can see the back of it. A close-up of the purported doorway on Mars shows the structure of rock, cracks inside the broken area, and sand deposits nearby. Cutaway from the Mastcam image by C.C. Peterson. It's not the first time an odd something on Mars or other places in the solar system, including Earth, have caught people's attention. People are familiar with the face on Mars. If you're over the purported alien face on the planet, it turned out to be nothing more than an eroded mesa in the Sidonian region. But that didn't stop a small cottage industry of writers and speakers from pushing the idea that ancient aliens built it as a signal to us or something. Subsequent missions that imaged the surface showed that there are no faces on Mars, and there aren't any statues or spoons or other spooky objects either. In every case, the object that people thought they saw turned out to be ordinary rocks or rock formations. Yeah, this is a common theme in certain communities, and as GeoSam has pointed out in the side chat there, pareidolia is the prominent culprit of that issue. So, human brains are super good at picking out patterns and creating our own patterns when there isn't one to pick out. So, we look at natural formations and see faces. We look at knots in wood and see faces, or other objects, and it is just the way that our wild primate brains work. It helps us to conceptualize complex ideas too. So, being that, yeah, I don't know what the spoons comment was. Has there been a claim of spoons on Mars? That might be something we have to look into. I have not heard of spoons on Mars, and I'm usually knee deep in this stuff most of the time. A science doorway on Mars. Now that's more like it. That's what I want to hear about. A composite image of Mount Sharp in Gale Crater, created by NASA Curiosity rover in 2015. The rover is currently atop a region called Greenhue pediment on the mountain, which is where it snapped the image of the doorway on Mars. It has excited people's imaginations. Credit, NASA. There are a lot of really cool features on Mars: rock formations, riverbeds, volcanoes, and craters. They provide more than enough exciting science, so we really don't need mysterious visions that stem from overactive imaginations and the very human tendency to see shapes or make pictures out of random, ambiguous visual scenes. There you go. GeoSam. The technical term for that is tendency is pareidolia. Now, GeoSam wins the internet today. Where were we? There we go. Okay. We've covered the term before in stories about the moon. So this is something, and we'll have to visit the moon at some point as well, I'm sure, and other interesting objects in space. In a way, the purported mysterious door rock feature on Mars gives us a chance to do a quick review here about what the Curiosity rover has helped scientists discover. Currently, it is exploring the central mountain in Gale Crater. There are some pretty familiar looking scenes there, and the familiarity does provide us with a doorway to understanding ancient and current Mars and how it goes the way it is, or how it got the way it is. Yeah. Okay, recognizing familiar things on a distant world. We see a lot of sandstone and other sedimentary rock on Mars, particularly in the area Curiosity is exploring. They look familiar to us because they are similar rocks here on Earth. Understanding how they form here opens a door, see how they did that with the door puns, to an understanding of how they formed on Mars. Similar processes were involved in both cases: deposition and erosion by water and wind. By observing such materials here at home and how they behave, we can get a good feel for what is happening to the sibling rocks on Mars. For example, if you are familiar with sandstone here on Earth, you know it can break pretty easily into sharp shards. Anyone with sandstone sidewalk is probably quite aware of how fragile this stuff can be. So seeing similar types of rock fractures and rock fractured and broken on Mars isn't a surprise. But seeing it break into such strange shapes certainly did get a lot of attention, which we can use to learn more about Mars. understanding the geology of the doorway on Mars. The region that Curiosity is traveling through right now is called the Green Hue Pediment on Mount Sharp. When the mast cam caught the image of the doorway on Mars, it was looking at a series of rocks that began life as sand dunes. These were probably deposited by what geologists call aeolian processes. That means wind action. Over time, the hardening into solid rock. Then, in one small area, something caused the rock to fracture in a couple of places. It probably wasn't anything mysterious, perhaps a little Mars quake or some other natural process. The blocks of rock eventually moved apart, and it left behind what looks like a door. The Green Hue Pediment is part of Mount Sharp, which is itself a 5.5 kilometer high mound of sedimentary layered rock. Curiosity has been traversing the pediment, studying the topmost layer of sandstone. There is evidence of clay-bearing rocks in the region as well. Just as it began its trip up the mountain some years ago, Curiosity found evidence for mudstone, rocks that could only be formed by the presence of water. The story of Mount Sharp is still unfolding, but here's what planetary scientists think happened to form it. First, Gale Crater was formed more than 3.5 billion years ago when an asteroid or comet hit the planet. Aeolus Mons is the central peak of that crater, and it rises up about 5.5 kilometers. Mount Everest is 8.8 kilometers high by comparison. Over millions of years, water flowed from the northern rim of the crater into the center. That deposited sediment on the floor of the crater. Flowing water created the mound of debris that makes up Mount Sharp. Certainly some materials were deposited in the region by wind action too. You can kind of see the way the landscape looks here. And as it trekked along, Curiosity is exploring the remains of the mound that comprises Mount Sharp. The discovery of the break in the rocks that looks like a doorway on Mars is part of its exploration of the Gale Crater and Mount Sharp's rocks. Curiosity opens more doors in discovery. Okay, so the exploration of the Green Hue Pediment. I think I decided I was going to pronounce that Green Hue Pediment is only the latest of Curiosity's explorations. During its time on Mars, the rover has been a veritable geology lab. It's crawled all over the surface of the planet there. It has found evidence of flow features made by wet brines. Brines are salty fluids. It also found clues that the ancient lakes and streams that filled the crater, and that contributes to larger story of water on Mars, which water on Mars is a whole amazing topic. And through my life, I've seen, no water on Mars, to water on Mars, to now or water that may have sustained the elements needed for life to form, for abiogenesis, much the same as early Earth did. A lot of cool stuff coming out about that. I follow that topic very closely because it's interesting and fun. The search for that life in the... here we go. There's been a lot of speculation that such a lake could have welcomed and nourished microbial life at one point in time. There is no proof that life existed yet. The search for that life and the environments where it could have flourished is, in part, why NASA and others have sent spacecraft to Mars. Despite the fact that this place is dry and dusty desert of a planet today, its history still intrigues us. And if the rocks break into interesting shapes as they erode and scatter, maybe that's a good thing. It grabs people's attention and creates our fascination with the ever-changing story of the red planet. Yeah, good stuff there. So that was the door on Mars. We looked at the compilation photographs, and the next thing I wanted to talk about was the second part of this video. Oh, you stop. Not yet. And this is just going to be a quick little section here because there's this additional claim being made here about about these images as well.
Interestingly, the three large objects that appear to be protruding from the Martian surface were captured back in 1999, and since then amateur researchers have used it as proof that something is happening on Mars, and that NASA is aware of what these things are. Someone who was searching the Mars surface for anomalies stumbled across what they described were large towers, further saying that whatever these things are, they're clearly big, and that it even looked as though they'd been placed in a line, with some comparing it to the pyramids in Giza that's aligned with the stars. The alleged towers can be found in a region known as Terra Meridiani, and coincidentally this is the region that has been explored by the rover, yet we've had no updated photographs from the rover itself, which is strange as these objects clearly protrude out of the ground, and wouldn't be hard to see.
Martian nipples.
The next issue is those who have looked into these objects revealed the enormous...
Oh, Ginny, love ya. Martian nipples.
Size of these things, saying that when measured they came in at 4.8 kilometers or 2.9 miles. They say that such structures could not be created by nature, and there's nothing around them that looks similar. The next thing they did was using Google Mars get more detailed photographs, and this was when they thought that these things must be artificial and not created by nature, saying that there's nothing around the area that you can compare.
Why would they be? Why do they have to be artificial? Just because? Because they look different than the surrounding landscape? What?
These two, and that there's nothing else on Mars that looks like these things.
Amateur researchers.
Further noting that they don't match any other mountains on the Martian surface. Another interesting thing to note is that the researchers compared these images to older photographs that had been taken from the region, and although they said that you can still see the structures in old archives, they noted that it looked as though NASA made the area fuzzy, so that it would be harder to see the structures.
The amateur researchers found out that NASA made the images fuzzy in this area so you couldn't see these pyramids anymore. Ah, damn it, NASA. Always one step ahead of those amateur researchers.
Although this might sound like an unfair claim, this isn't the first time that NASA has been accused of covering up certain areas. In fact, the agency themselves have said that they've done this in the past. One amateur researcher said the following about the image. All this shows me is that what we're looking at are large towers of artificial origin. It's not like just one of these was found. We have 3 large towers.
Now I can't stop hearing that he keeps referring to them as amateur researchers when these are, what he's talking about, I believe, are like people on Reddit making theories about what these images are. Like, I think that I can't imagine he's talking about anything else. Maybe from some other forums or subreddits or what have you, but...
A row that is still standing tall. The ground around them is flat and there's nothing like them in the area. They are what they look like, large towers. As mentioned, NASA have not got on board with this idea, and have said that although these images look interesting, people are going to be disappointed because what they're looking at is pareidolia, where the mind tricks us into thinking that something is there when it isn't, and said that they've never seen an image of Mars that's made them think that it's nothing more than a rock. So what do you make of this strange structure on Mars?
So, yeah, let's look at these. So this is like a 3D rendering of what they think that they're seeing in that image. Not saying that this is inaccurate or that they don't look like this, but is this the hallmark of design, Geosam? It is conical. all cones are definitely. This is a road. These are road cones. I'm thinking that they're probably because they see us driving around on the surface, and they're saying, hey, this area is off limits. Do not drive through here. That's what I'm seeing. No. But we have strange rock formations and geological abnormalities and unconformities. We have radicals. We have the things like the Giant's Causeway in the UK, where they're basically pillars of hexagons just marching out into the sea. Rock formation, geology is a complex situation, and physics and the way that the rocks can break and form, and what sticks out and what gets buried and what crumbles and what stays standing. So many factors come into play that it's difficult to make the claim that because these line up like this, that they must be artificial. Because they are tall and raised above the rest of the landscape, they must be artificial. Those are bold claims that are just not backed by any evidence that I've seen. And this is just a 3D rendering of what they think that they're looking at here. If you actually look at the image of what we're seeing here, I don't know that that's necessarily holding water. Again, the way that shadows fall on the surface of Mars is a bit different than what you see on Earth because there is no atmosphere. So they're getting direct sunlight, but they're also getting the sunlight from a further distance away. So it's not the way shadows fall, the way they move and change is going to be quite a bit different than what you see on Earth. Familiar but different, if you will. Anyhow, let's see here. And I think there was a piece I was going to just go over real quick about these as well. We're not going to watch that, though, because it was already covered in there. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so alien architecture. Towers on Mars allegedly spotted in NASA photo. This is Nature World News. Alien enthusiasts are claiming they have found evidence proving that aliens existed on Mars. According to Express, the conspiracy theorists have spotted 3-mile-high towers built in a line on the surface of the red planet. The bizarre structure was first noted by YouTube channel Mundo Desconocido. The YouTube channel posted a video discussing the structures. The video description read, investigating on some Mars images, we have recently found a row of huge towers located in the Martian area of Terra Meridiana, or Meridiani? Yeah. Due to their particular features, we believe that they have an artificial origins. In the following video, we will show you the amazing information, evidence, as well as 3D models. We've already seen the images and the models that will allow you to evaluate correctly the information we propose. Headlines in Global News claim that the images on the video were gathered from the Mars Global Surveyor and Mars Odyssey mission. The Inquisitor notes that the photos were taken years apart, yet the photos were matching. It also shows that the towers have similar formation with the same alignment. Given its almost perfect structure, the conspiracy theorists said it's impossible that those towers are the result of natural erosive or weathering processes. Popular UFO expert Scott Waring, that name sounds familiar. Is that somebody I should know? Sounds like it's somebody I should know. Shared his thoughts about the tower On his blog, UFO Sighting Daily, he wrote, "There's a whole planet full of buildings and artifacts to be discovered on Mars. Here is a fantastic example of that posted on YouTube by YouTuber. I'm not going to pronounce that name again. He found 3 towers. Look almost a mile in height or more. They all look like they were made well because none of them is destroyed." None of them is destroyed, or would it be none of them are destroyed? I don't mean to correct these people's grammar, but I struggle to read sometimes anyway, and not to read. I struggle to read out loud. My brain and my mouth don't connect the best all the time, but when they put roadblocks in the way, it doesn't help. They would be perfect for setting up a human Mars base at, if they are empty, of course. Yeah. If they're not occupied, if these towers aren't occupied by stormtroopers, I guess. By Martians, by Marvin the Martian, who's been patrolling down below this whole stream so far. Meanwhile, neurologists have previously claimed that it is possible that UFO enthusiasts are seeing things that are not supposed to see because of a phenomenon called GeoSam, say it again for the people in the back, pareidolia, which HiveScience defines as a all one word, as a type of apophenia or apophenia, which is a more generalized term used for seeing patterns in random data. Yeah, this whole CryptoCorner or CrypticCorner has been pareidolia. It's been people seeing things through sometimes not the best lens, because they are pattern-seeking apes, and they're seeing what they're seeing because it's what their brain is wired to do, and it's helped our species survive for, hundreds of thousands of years. So we're going to keep doing it because it works. But it does lead to things like this. It leads to some woo-woo, and that's okay. A little woo-woo is okay every now and then. I don't mind. It gives me something to talk about. It gives me something to do shows about even. So that's the thing. But that was CrypticCorner. Went a little long, but that's all right. I'm glad we were able to crack open the Mars doorway and have a peek inside. If you disagree with me, if you think that the doorway on Mars was legit, if you think there are 3 mile-high towers on the surface of the red planet, definitely feel free to leave a comment down below and explain why, and give me some sources for your claims, because I love looking into this stuff, and I think I've proven week after week that I'm willing to dive into these topics and do some exploring to find out what's really happening, or what seems to really be happening from my perspective. If you are watching us on the premiere for CrypticCorner on Friday, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to be kind and take care.